It's about to get real unreal, my chums. Okay, we're off to a good start with that. It's okay. We're gonna go. We're gonna do the thing. Hi. Hello. Hello, mates. Hello, standing. Hello, everyone. Hello, lurkers and VOD watchers. Unreal's doing this really weird thing where it doesn't remember what my textures look like, so everything is like fucked up. Anyway, that's fine. That's fine. How are you guys doing? How? Oof. How's your Thursday? How's your Thursday? I'm doing okay. I was a fairly laid back day. Yesterday was very laid back, which was nice. My work machine basically decided that it didn't want to do anything yesterday, so I went to all my meetings and I kept track of stuff and I weighed in on when people needed feedback and stuff. But all of my like actual doing responsibilities is like, well, it's fucked. Shit's fucked. It's okay. Some days you just need an excuse to just be like, whatever. Okay, but tired. Short day tomorrow. Nice. Early start to the weekend sounds good. It sounds like a good opportunity. I haven't been getting a lot of sleep this week, and then today I got woken up by leaf blowers again, so that's just did not help. But it's okay because I dragged myself out of bed and I went before work. I went over to the bakery and I got a coffee and a nice croissant and I brought it back and it was good. Why do we have machines that have moods? They learned it from watching you. They were made in the image of their creator, and that might have been a mistake. I feel like there would be an Onion article of computer scientists finally develop authentic artificial intelligence, and they bring it online, and just immediately it starts screaming until they turn it off again. And the computer scientist is just like, yeah, it checks out. That seems about right. Why are you doing this? All the textures are just like not there for some reason. Oh, and now Unreal's frozen. Maybe that's the problem. So, would it be bad if after Automatron destroys its own code? It would certainly say something, wouldn't it? Sorry, I'm looking at this. I'm like, you should know how this works. You should know how to load your own freaking assets. Might look that up. So, while I'm looking that up, I think the big news, the big, not getting into serious news, but the big exciting thing from yesterday was the Nintendo Direct, where they finally went more in-depth on the Switch 2. And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't watch it. I caught all sort of the after action reports and the reactions to stuff and got the cliff notes because I don't know. I just didn't want to really like sit through all of the jargon and presentation speak. I was like, just give me the info. Give me the information. Oh, geez, same here. Disable texture streaming in the project settings. Oh, I wonder if I disabled texture streaming somehow. Let me check that. Being Pokemon geek, I was biased. See, I haven't been. I wish I enjoyed Pokemon more than I do, but I have not played a Pokemon since the original Silver. Because I just find myself perpetually disappointed by them. Okay, texture streaming is turned on. I'm gonna restart it and see if that helps somehow. Everyone, you know, there was a lot of like, what the hell about it's not Bloodborne 2. It's legally distinct from Bloodborne 2. It's a different thing. But that had people very excited. And then 5 seconds of Silk Song, and everyone was like, oh my god, it's finally happening. It's here. It's real. I can't believe it. Right. Well, and they're... You know what? I'm just gonna put on the Mighty Keith video because I feel like... Hello, Tech! I see you peeking in. Hello? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm just gonna put on the Mighty Keith video because I feel like he did a very good job encapsulating all of my feelings on the matter. Both the positive and the negative. So we're just gonna here, let me get out of the way. I'm gonna join you guys over here. And then we'll put this over here. There we go. I feel like a lot of the emotion, the response to the direct was very like that was the range of it, right? That you had the content, which people got very excited about, understandably, justifiably. And then you had the cost of everything, which people went, hold the fuck up. You want what? And I don't know. Like, I for me, I was not planning to buy a Switch 2 because I barely used my Switch 1. It made no sense for me to buy one. Right? And at this point, I'm like, oh, well, no. No. The Switch 1 was like, what, $300? And that was not worth it for me. So you're talking $450 more for what amounts to a tech upgrade. And it's still not like a modern console. So, I don't know. Like, I get why people are excited about the given games, but to me, it's just, it's not a reasonable proposition. Which does suck, because it probably means I'm not gonna, there's gonna be a Zelda or two even that I'm not gonna get to play. And I love Zelda, but I'm not gonna spend $450 to get to play them. You know, plus the price of the game. And Nintendo doesn't do sales, right? It's not going to come down in price probably ever. So this is the cost that we're looking at. I'm just like, I always have this division in my mind of Nintendo, the developer, Nintendo that makes the games that people love and the franchises that people remember and care about so much. And then you have Nintendo, the company. And I have very little good to say about Nintendo, the company. Well, and I feel like they think they can get away with it because they never put their games anywhere else. And I have to assume stuff like Silksong, well, actually, no, Dustblood or whatever. Dustbloods? I think that's it. Might be console exclusive. That would be wild, but it's possible. I have to assume Silksong is going to be on other platforms. Hades 2 obviously is going to be on other platforms, so yeah, there's definitely going to be stuff that I miss out on, but it's like, again, it's kind of just not worth it to me to buy the console even for those things. So I don't know. I feel like the price points were definitely surprising to me, but I think the overall sentiment was pretty where I expected it to be. Games, cool. Nintendo being Nintendo. Yeah, it checks out. Why are you not working correctly? You're being so weird about this. See, I don't want to just open every texture because that would fix it. But I want to try going to another map and see if that somehow magically fixes things. I doubt it, but it's not it's possible. Yeah, see, some of the text, some of the like icons and stuff aren't even loading properly. I'm gonna need to figure out why that is. Okay, well, anyway, so, yeah, I don't know. I guess that's what I have to say on the Nintendo Direct, right? And the Switch 2. It's like, it would be nice if it became more, you know, available, more appropriate. But, I was talking with my roommate about it this morning, and they made a really interesting point that Nintendo kind of goes through periods of success and hubris, and it's basically cycling by console, right? So, like, the N64 was very strong, and then the GameCube was beloved, but was also the absolute loser of the console generation. Like, it did the worst out of all three of them. And then the Wii was wildly successful. And then the Wii U nearly killed the company. And then the Switch resurrected them and brought everything back, and everything cruised super well. And so by that trend data, the Switch 2, it might be time for some hubris. I still only own 5 games for my Switch currently. I just play the crap out of the ones I have. See, that to me is not worth buying a console for. It is not worth dropping the money for a console when I could just get games for my PC. And I know there are games that you care about that you have to get the Switch for, but I don't know, it's just not worth it to me. This texture thing is really bugging me, but we can deal with it another time. I don't know why it's not loading. Okay, so there is one more thing that I wanted to bring up, not related to Nintendo. We'll go over sort of what the plan is for tonight, and then I want to bring that up. So essentially what I want to do, we do have some animation cropping, and we can fall back onto that if the brain juice runs out. But what I wanted to sort of experiment with, right, is we have a number of animations that we're using currently, right? Why are you fucking like this? Sorry, thinking, sort of, kind of. But the animations that we got out of this project, out of this group, do not cover everything that we're going to need, right? There's still a lot that we need to figure out. So to that end, at some point, we are going to need to actually make our own animations. So that's kind of what I wanted to start in on tonight, was like, what does the process of doing that look like? Where are we going to start with that? Determines the worth of like enough enjoyment versus the fastest way. Yeah, no, I think it's a reasonable enough metric. It's just, I don't know. I'm not gonna. I know from enough experience that I'm not going to get a satisfying amount of play out of a console at this point. And it doesn't just apply to the Switch, it also applies to the PlayStation and the Xbox. You were not doing this before. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna do a little bit of that, and then like I said, if the project, or we run out of energy for learning, we can switch over to doing just a little bit more tedium work. So what was really the other thing that I wanted to bring up, I found out about this today. So I've been talking about, maybe trying out Star Citizen again, sort of getting back in, seeing what the patch is doing. I figured I would get back on board at some point, figure that out somewhere along the line. But I saw a video today from Elite Dangerous. And so in the past, they have done 2 community expeditions that have been titled Distant Worlds. And essentially what it is a community-run event where the organizers say, we are going to travel. We are all going to meet up at this one system, and we are going to travel and basically go on a galactic road trip. We're going to hit up these particular systems, see these sites, and we're all meet up again, in this time frame on a system basically on the far side of the galaxy, right? And it's fairly daunting because there is essentially a civilized gameplay area, right? It is commonly referred to as the bubble. And it is the extent that humanity has managed to colonize. I think it's like maybe 1,000 light years across, which sounds like a lot until you look at the scale of the galaxy and remember that the galaxy is like over 100,000 light years across, and you go, oh, yeah, all right. So yeah, there's the bubble, and then there's a tiny little area called Colonia, which is some distance away. And now there's like a bridge of very minimally settled systems connecting the bubble and Colonia. And that is it. That is the extent of it. And I think since the game launched over 10 years ago, players have still mapped less than 1% of the galaxy. Like, the vast majority of star systems have never been visited by anybody. And so the whole idea of Distant Worlds is, again, to do some exploration, potentially come across systems, in the course of going from A to B to C to D. You find some new systems. You discover some new locations. And then, you also get to see the greatest hits that people have discovered. Interesting star systems, notable locations, like the just interesting stuff along the way, right? It's a great opportunity for taking screenshots, and everybody just has a good time with it together. So there have been 2 Distant Worlds expeditions. And then the community hit a really rough point in like 2021 to 22 with the launch of Elite Dangerous Odyssey. The game was in a really bad place. It wasn't running well. People weren't happy with how the game was being managed and how the developers were responding to the community, and a lot of people stopped playing. And the organizers for Distant Worlds basically said, like, with the state of the game and the loss of console support and a number of other things, we just don't feel like there is an appetite for playing the game right now and for trying to organize another event. And so there was no Distant Worlds 3, and people were very upset about that, but it's understandable that it's a voluntary thing. So if the heart's not there, you can't really expect it. But the game has made a very remarkable rebound over the last year or so, to the point that the player numbers are way back up and community enthusiasm is way back up, and they finally decided, you know what, we're gonna go for it. We're gonna do a Distant Worlds 3. It's gonna happen. And there was much rejoicing. And people were very excited. And, information TBD, etc., etc. But it's back on the table. And so the video today was about a community-led event called the Shoulder of Orion. So one of the things that they added to the game recently is system colonization, where players can essentially go out to an unsettled system, a certain distance out from the nearest settled system, right? So you can't just go to the other side of the galaxy and set up a homestead. You have to leapfrog system to system. And you pay money, and then it drops in a claim on the system basically, and you have to go through this sequence of events of delivering supplies and money and building up stations and colonizing a new system, and it essentially gets added to the galaxy as a new location. And so what the community goal is, the community event is basically, we're going to start Distant Worlds 3 from the Orion sector, Barnard's Loop, the Horsehead Nebula, off the shoulder of Orion. And to help facilitate that, we need to colonize that area. So there is this big push. Exactly. So there is this big push. There is this event essentially organized by the people setting up Distant Worlds to say, we are going to establish a new colonized bubble in the Orion sector, off the shoulder. And so we need to do this big push to colonize a bridge of systems out there and then populate the area. And I saw that and I was like, I want to fucking play the game again, because this is exactly the kind of thing that I was really hoping to see colonization really kick off, of like people establishing goals for themselves and each other in the community and saying like, we're going to go out and we're going to do this now, And as much as I do feel like Star Citizen has some very cool like ideas planned, and some of the stuff that they have implemented recently is very neat, like just seeing this and seeing what the amount that the devs have added into Elite and how it empowers the community to do something like this, to have an event like this, and it wasn't something that the devs planned, right? It's not an official event or anything, but it is something the community can make for themselves and then ignite that much excitement off of it is incredible. And like, that is more exciting to me than any like singular feature update or new event that I feel like you can announce. So yeah, I really want to get back into Elite and go just like grab one of my cargo ships and do my part for the effort and visit the shoulder. They're not out there yet. I think they've made it a good portion of the way, but like I said, they need to sort of settle systems one or two at a time, and there's a development time for each system before it's properly settled, and then you can claim the next one and keep going. So it's going to be a little bit, but it is very cool. It is very exciting, and I really want to see what happens with it and what they do with it. I do feel like it's the sort of thing that the developers will absolutely recognize and respond to and incorporate into the canon, the existence of the game, right? They are generally very good at responding to that sort of behavior, and when the players decide to do things like this, they're like, okay, yeah, this is part of the world now. Well, I guess I'm just gonna fucking load all these textures. If nothing else, just for Jordan, because it's gonna be really weird looking at her without everything having the right visualization. At least that wasn't too difficult. Anyway, So yeah, that I saw today, and I was just like, this is perfect. This is exactly the kind of thing that I hope to see coming out of the colonization feature. And I hope it works. I hope people enjoy it and do a lot with it. Okay, so why don't we get into what image format do you use for textures? That's a good question. I believe, yeah, so these are all PNGs. Should probably use, well, I don't know if I should use TIFFs. We use TIFFs at work. I don't know if TIFFs are typically larger. I'm not sure why we use TIFFs over PNGs. Okay, so we've got, what do we have here? We have a 35-minute video, how to animate in Unreal Engine 5, part 1. Oh boy. So that might be a good place to start. And then we've got another one, physical animation. I don't think we want physical animation. And then this is character setup in Blender, idle and walk animation. So this might not be in Unreal, like exclusively in Unreal. And then this is a 2-hour video on creating animations from scratch. So we've got a lot of watching material. TIFF is usually less compressed and still allows for transparency. But a PNG is lossless, so how can a TIFF be less compressed? I suppose in the bitrate. Maybe it's bitrate. Project setup 5.5. No, we are in 5.5. That makes sense. Okay, Unreal Editor and Secret. Okay, I think we're just going to go through this 2-hour video. We're going to see how much we can get through and see if it'll teach us the right things. So I'm going to drop the synth wave down some, and then we're just going to start scrubbing through this and see how it goes for us, right? TIFF format supports multiple layers and channels, allowing for extensive editing without degrading image quality. You can go back to the original image at any time during editing. And for extensive editing without degrading image quality. Interesting. Is there no captioning? On, please. Thank you. How did the closed captions know to say decrapify? Okay, cool. Okay, so we got that. I need to move this window. Hold on. Nope, nope, keep going. Okay, wait, hang on. What do we need GitHub for? Tattools. Tattools on Fab. Tattools on GitHub. Might need either one. Oh, interesting. Free version of Tattools. Love it. Animating Unreal. Highly customized picker and curve editor filters. Okay, cool. From free to $40. A small team with not more than 100K revenue. Perfect. Sponsor. Avert your eyes. Shit, you guys probably saw that. Might need to edit that out of the VOD. Okay, wait, where did it go? There you are. Yes. Yes. Okay, yeah, just give it to me! I need it! Okay, and then we're gonna go back to the launcher. And then if I go to my library... God, why is 7TV being so slow these days? It's incredible. Okay, and then we need Tattools. I enjoy the dump banana patch. Ultimate game animation. Okay, so it's not Tattools. Where is it then? Fab UE plugin. Wait, what? View in my library. Yeah. Oh, I swear they made this more difficult to work with. I feel like this used to be more straightforward. Here, can we refresh? There you are. Okay, install the engine. 5.5. Perfect. Alright, now we're kicking. I do not have Git. Might need to restart Unreal for this to take effect. Will you stop doing that? Okay. Hello, Ron. Okay, yeah, here, let me do this. So just while we're looking at that, so I'm gonna close the game project down because we probably need to restart to properly see the plugins, assuming that it installed the plugin correctly. It may not have. It may have not done the thing that it was supposed to do. Cool. Okay, so let's see if we can bring this back. That looks good. And that's not correct. All right, that's understandable though, because you don't have the other window. Okay, so let's go. We're gonna hide you, and then we need to go edit plugins. And then we're going to turn on tat tools. You must restart Unreal Editor to take effect. Dang it. All right, back we go then. Okay. Could you have told me about that beforehand? What does the new one look like? Dang it. That is a better gizmo. Alright, one more restart. Oh, okay, that's fine. So, we are being a little... what's the word for it? A little reckless. Because he does it in the animation sample project, which is a good idea, and we should probably do that. Should probably do that. Yeah, let's do that. Hello, Sonic. Happy Thursday. I hope you're having a good week. Oh, I hope you're ready for the weekend. How's it going? We're trying to learn a little bit about Unreal animation. It's going slow. I do think it would be a good idea to use the animation sample project instead of our game project. Probably just to have something that even if we mess it up, we're less likely to destroy something really important, right? Oh, I think it's too pricey. I think they're overpriced. I get that, you know, if you take inflation and everything into account, then it's probably pretty level, but I don't think that's an argument that anybody really wants to hear right now. I don't think that's a winning argument. Okay, let's try opening up the animation sample project and doing our work in there for the time being. I know this is probably going to need another restart or two, and I'm sorry about that. So just give me 1 minute to get this up and going, and it'll save us a bit of a potentially save us some potential headache if we end up doing something that we don't like. But yeah, I don't know. The console is not terribly outside of normal ranges, but the price point of the games is definitely egregious, and I feel like they can do it because a lot of the games are going to be console exclusive. Yeah. Well, and it'll be interesting to see how many of the games do run on the Switch One and how much people just try and get away with using the console that they have and buying games, trying to make it work. Okay, so we're gonna plug in that, and then we need TRS.
You're watching this video sitting down. I'm gonna need you to fix your fucking posture, you croissant-looking letter C crescent moon ass scoliosis motherfucker. Fix your spine! Damn!
Yeah, I don't know. I Is it weird that I wish video games didn't make so much money? I mean, I'd probably be out of a job if they didn't, but I feel like there's so much money involved in them getting made nowadays that it just it's nuts. Okay, so remind me. Blueprints, camera, characters. Your fan. No, I think we're gonna want blueprints. So yeah, maybe this guy? Yeah, kinda. Can you point at the right thing now, please? Yeah, you're looking at the old... There we go. Okay. Okay. So yeah, now let's skip back a little bit in the video because he was able to do a greater level of manipulation than what I seem to be able to do right now. So what is he messing with here? Okay. Hang on. He has a plugins folder. Where's my plugins folder? I don't have one. Ah, it's under engine. And then we go all the way down to 3. 3-peat. Yeah, 3-peat anim tools. Then we'll go picker. And then we can open this up. And that creates a new widget. Can we dock it in here? I would like to dock the widget. So he's able to dock it. I'm not sure how he does that. Yeah, but how did you dock it? Please let me dock the window. Oh, maybe I have to do like this. I don't have to dock it if it's really not gonna work, but I would like to be able to. No, don't close it. Window, log, enable full screen. I don't know. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it on a separate window right now, and we'll come back to that. Okay, right. Oh wait, how did he drop this mannequin so they can actually do these edits? And he just skips that. Dude, not helpful. I need to see that part. Okay, let's go back up here. Here we go. Characters, mannequin, rigs. Can you drop the control rig straight into the field like that? Kind of. Yeah, I guess you can. Look at that. That's cool. Weird. Okay. Yeah, I didn't get that. I don't know why mine didn't update. Maybe it's in the plugin settings. Alright, well, problems for later. Hmm. Interesting. Okay, I think we can skip ahead a little bit. Okay. Yeah. Okay. It wouldn't work. Hang on. So right click. No, not add to group. You said assign actor? I thought you said convert. Convert selected bindings. Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay. This is gonna rotate, it's gonna move. Okay, makes sense. Everyone taking notes? This will be on the test. Flunking the test. Not with that attitude. Sort of reposition. Ooh, okay, cool, cool. Nice. Little wibble wibble wibble. I'll just copy up Sonic. If you guys remember back to Tuesday, some of these curves might look similar to what we were doing in Live 2D, right? We were specifying. So the main difference between what we were doing in Live 2D and what we're doing here is just the way Live 2D works. We needed to create everything through, well, not everything, but we needed to create a lot of things through the parameters, right? And sort of specify like, okay, you know, at one end of the parameter, you should be here, and at the other end, you should be here. And then the curve was to determine where on that parameter we wanted to set. Now, it's not the only way that we could do it. We can, in the animation stuff in Live 2D, actually like move and rotate and scale stuff without the use of a parameter. Because I got used to Live 2D doing model work, parameter-based operation makes more sense to me, but it's not the only way. This, what we have here in Unreal, is a lot more like what we would see in something like Maya or Blender, where you just have a timeline and you're inputting all of the information that you want to do just directly into the timeline. You're not setting it up somewhere else and then putting it in. One of the things that you'll notice as well is, you know, so he started out with just that really simple S-curve animation, right? So just starting keyframe, ending keyframe. And then, you know, added a couple extra keyframes so that he could control the ease in and ease out of the animation. And then a couple more keyframes so that he could add a little bit of like a course correction, repositioning, fine-tuning of the position right at the end, right? Where the box like overshoots a little bit and then it kind of like comes back a little and then, you know, levels itself out into the spot that it wants to be in. So I think this is sort of the thing about 3D animation that a lot of people just looking at it don't necessarily appreciate. Like, they might go, oh, well, you know, the computer can just do all of the tweening for you, right? So you don't need to draw every frame like you do with 2D animation, with hand animation, because you can just use those curves. It's like, yeah, that's a good place to start, and it will definitely help you get things set up. But I will bet you on pretty much any like professional feature length animated project, they will use the tweening, the automatic tweening, to, you know, go to start things out. And by the end of the project, we'll probably get down to the point where they have keyed every frame of the movie. I doubt there are many frames in something like Spider-Verse or Zootopia or Inside Out where they just let the computer build it for them. I would imagine every single frame had corrections and keys and adjustments and tweaks to get it to look exactly right. So it's not like, oh yeah, we can just let the computer make half of the frame. Where it's like, no, we're still going to make every frame. It's just kind of the order of operations changes a little bit. Okay. Actually, wait. Yeah, let's use the UEFN just for simplicity's sake. Dang it. Or not simplicity, consistency. I didn't know you could use control space for the content browser. That's good to know. Okay, characters, UEFN mannequin. What folder was it? Meshes. Makes sense. Okay, sorry, one more time. I hit plus sign, it didn't do anything. Oh, maybe it has to be numpad? No? What? Can I right click on it? Tracks. Oh, the little plus sign right here. Control rig. Control rig. Which one did he pick? Select SKM UEFN. Okay, I see. So you have a skeletal mesh here, right? But then if we go back up to the top, so we're gonna go content, characters, UEFN, rigs. Okay, so that's the UEFN. Why do I not have that? Rigs, PAIK. I have CR mannequin body. Will that work? I don't know why I don't have the same one that he does. Rigs. IK rig? What does this look like? No, that's just the IK. Where is your control rig, my guy? Content, blueprints, characters, level prototyping, animation blueprints, sandbox character. Huh. Okay, well, I guess we'll just use the mannequin body and hope that works. Yeah, so we've got one for the mannequin. We have one for Echo, but we don't have one for the UEFN. Okay, well, that seems correct anyway, so We're gonna hope that's fine. Okay, and then we need to go to... Is there an easy way to set enter? Okay, that did seem to work. Okay. Dang it, what was... Okay, there. Where is looping? Okay, couple of questions. One, how do I set looping on? Enable snapping, curve editor, 30 FPS. Create a new camera, render movie, actions, view options. Key all. Oh, there we go. There's looping. And then play. Okay. Okay. So go ahead and stop. Can I? Here. Okay, so I'm trying, because he just did a Control Z, but what I would like to do is actually grab the keyframe and delete it. Okay, so that works. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna grab a cookie real quick while we're watching this. Yes, please, tell me. Yeah. 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 Oh, that's good to know. Okay. Hang on. I'm gonna write that down really quick. Note taking. Note taking. Very important. There you go. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's true for IK to FK too. Oh. Oh, interesting. Wait, so where was that? Wait, so how come I don't have that? Where was it located? Oh, global. Okay. And there he switches to IK. Interesting. To get an exact position. Mm-hmm. Oh, don't do that. There we go. Let's go and do some shit. So while he was doing that, I was fussing around in the background. So our character goes, Om. Right, so you might pause it and then just increase the distance of the background a little bit. Could you zoom back? There we go. Okay, control is zoom back. So yeah, we might just extend it out a little bit longer. We can grab the body and get back out to our frame and sort of drop this down a little bit. So see, like that lowers the whole body, but I want to grab this one so that it, nope, okay, maybe not that one. Which one is going to grab our entire character? I guess it's going to be, is it this guy? Which one are we on right now? You won't tell me. Oh, body offset, yes. So we might drop that down a little bit so that, you know, as he floats, it also like settles the character a bit more. And then, you know, to sort of get into what he was showing before, I realize I'm in the way of it, but we have the sequencer curve here. Let's dock it over on this one and we can just kind of tap back and forth as needed. So right now it's just doing an S curve. And what we might do is, let's maybe grab this frame. We'll drag it out a little bit, right? And then we'll go right here. We can go ahead and knock that down. Where are you? The fuck? Oh! It was moving all of them. Right, so we might have it go a little overshoot. So now he settles back in, right? Might make that a little bit more dramatic. And even here, we might come in, make a frame, and so we'll have like a back and forth wobble. So it goes down and then up and levels out. Nope, don't do that. Here, let's bring that a little bit farther, right? Maybe a little less extreme on that front. One of the other things, and I'm sure he'll get into it as we go, right, is a lot of times when you're doing organic animation, like you're animating a character, a person, an animal, something to that effect, you don't want to just have them go straight into the animation. You want to have a lead in. So, you know, for this, we might go here. So we'll go here. We'll add another frame and we'll set this value to 0, right? Maybe give this a little bit more lead time. What the fuck was that? Right, so what that does is it'll just sort of hold the position for a second. And then right around here, we can come back to this, right? Because we have this dropping as well. So what we might do is at this time, we're actually gonna like raise the character up a little bit. Not that much. And let's have the leg eye case reset their position as well at this point. So what this does is it sort of creates this like DC sort of like prepares it, right? He sort of like raises up a little bit before settling into the motion. It's sort of like that, you know, that before you prepare to do something, like imagine you're gonna push something, right? You got a big old box or something, you're gonna try and push it. You don't just go straight into the push. You sort of like pull back a little bit, you take a deep breath, you brace all your muscles, and then you push in, right? Regardless of the size of the action, that is a normal thing that you're going to see happen. There's that bit of like preparatory counter movement before going into the movement, and the bigger the action, the more that prep action is going to be. So he'll probably get into that. We'll probably see some of that in, you know, once we get a little bit beyond just like, here's the basics of how you run an animation. But I just want to point that out. That, you know, the sort of, you can have preparatory action at the beginning, and then you can have leveling out sort of wobble on the end. So an S-curve, a lot of programs these days, Maya, Blender, Live 2D, etc., will automatically do S-curves instead of linear movement because it looks nice, right? It has a nice ease in and ease out. There's very little in nature that just is like A to B, perfectly the same amount from start to finish, right? There's usually deceleration or easing in, easing out of some variety, right? So a lot of programs will give you automatic easing, the little sort of S shape on your animation curves by default, just because it looks good. And it's a good place to start, but you typically want to do something in addition to that. Right. Okay, let's go ahead and save all this. And let's get back to the video and see what they've got in store for us. Good lord, look at all this. Okay. Oh no. Okay, hang on. This is gonna be useful, so let's... I was just kind of watching along, but let's actually run through it really quickly, because I think it'll be good to... good practice, right? Okay, walk, loop. So let's just grab this one. Sure, why not? Okay. Mm-hmm. Make static mesh. Oh, there's more. Okay, edit in sequencer, bake to control rig, CRUEFN, mayonnaise. Okay, yeah, that's it. Wait, where is it though? Oh, there it is. Sure enough, it did not pop up in front. Well, you can tell by the way I use my walk, I'm a woman's man. No time to talk. You say loud to be damn out to be kicked around since I was born. Okay. So that's some very useful tools. Just understanding. And one of the things I gotta say, this is really cool. So there's some really interesting things about this, and I'm sure we can get more in depth, and we'll get more in depth because this is a 2-hour video. And then we've got another one that was 35 minutes, but is part 1. Okay, so it looks like How to Animate in Unreal full series is another hour and 10. Okay, so part of the reason that I didn't want to do animation work in Blender is what you traditionally have, and what we kind of have set up on our character right now, is a series of, I keep calling them canned animations, right? So you would go into Blender and you would basically say, okay, we're going to have our character with the skeletal rig, and frame 0 is going to be a pose, right? Just perfectly still, perfectly level. It's our fallback position. And then frame 1 will start our idle animation. That would be like frames 1 to 60. And then frame 61 to 120 something would be the walk animation. And then 100 some, after that we have the run animation, the jumping animations, and the grabbing animations, and the interact animations, and the take damage animations. And we sort of set it up in order across this entire timeline. And then you would kick it out in an FBX and import it into the engine, and you would specify what frame is the starting frame and what frame is the ending frame, and you would set up each animation, and then you would have those available, and you would call them at the right times. And that would kind of be it, right? So, Lara Croft has her climbing animation, grab the ledge, pull herself up, run, jump, swim, shoot, etc. So a lot of the reason that I wanted to do something different, to use the animation tools in engine as opposed to the tools in another program, is because I wanted the animation to be more malleable, more adaptable. I wanted it to be able to blend together more effectively and to be more interactive. Right, so one of the things that you run into with like pure canned animation is, let's say your character like steps up onto a ledge, but they're only halfway up the ledge. If the animation is 100% canned, then 1 foot is going to be floating off the ground, because the animation, the idle animation, would assume they're standing on level ground, and there's nothing to correct that. Whereas if you have something that is more dynamic, something that is operating off of information provided in the game and a proper IK system, then you can have 1 foot be elevated on the ledge and the other foot be lower down on the base. And you can actually have the character interacting with their environment in a more dynamic way. And one of the things that we're going to want to have happen is blending animations together. So like our throwing animation or our interacting animations might happen at the same time as walking or running. And so we'll have sort of a mixed behavior of 2 animations running at the same time, and figure out how that's supposed to work. The other thing that's going on here, and you remember, if you think back, we are running into this issue. So the character is actually moving through space, which we don't want them to do. But it's okay that we leave that in there, because if we look at this, right, we're running the sequence. All we need to do is go to asset details, and we disable root motion, and then the actual movement of the character, all of the joints are still operating the way that we want them to, but that part, the root motion, is the single curve that is translating the character through space. And we disable that, so now for the character to actually move, it has to be moving because the player object, the player character, is moving. I think a lot of times when you're setting up animations like this, it is useful to move the character in space, because you get a better sense of, is the placement of the feet as the character is moving, is that good? Is the foot sliding because the character is moving too fast or too slow? Right, so actually allowing the character to move while you're setting up all the animations makes sense, and then you just disable the root motion so that you're not having your character, your mesh, disconnect from what the player is doing. Okay, so the other thing that I really like about this is I feel like we have, you know, we can set stuff up more organically, right? We're not over in Blender just sort of making environment or making animations in a vacuum and trusting that it's all going to work. We can just make it in engine, and we might, you know, have a special level or something like a animation studio, essentially a mocap studio almost, where we go and just like, you know, we aren't like in, you know, fighting the environment or anything while we do all of our animating. Might need to do that, but you know, and here we're just in our test level. We're just in our demo level. We've got a nice little open spot and we're just fussing around with it, right? You can just kind of make animations on the spot, and that feels very, like, less stressful to me. All right, let's see what's next. Wait, wrong video. My bad. My bad. Okay, hang on. So let's make a new test sequence, or new, yeah, so level sequence. Okay, so we're gonna make a new level sequence and we're gonna call it -anim01. We're gonna open that up. So now that's in here. And then what he wants us to do is we're gonna look for idle loop. And we're going to open that up. Baked control rig, Manny. Then we bake it. Cool. Alright, you know what? That's fair. I guess because it's already locked in place, yeah, we don't need to. Oh, Unreal? Are you with me, buddy? It's thinking. There it goes. Okay, so yeah, then we just take all of these. That's a lot of... You can kind of see it underneath the video here, but look at all these keyframes for an idle pose. Here, you know what? I want to zoom in. I want to make a point. You remember what I was saying about how, like, a professional animation project will still end up touching every single frame? Every single frame is keyed. It might not be necessary, right? There might not be a ton going on that constitutes it, but they did go ahead and key every single frame so that everything can be exactly where they want it to be. But we're just gonna delete all this. Wow, look at that beautiful rainbow. It's so pretty. Okay, so yeah, we're in the clear now. Hey, there's what I'm talking about. The anticipation. Hang on. Okay, so tab tools. Sorry, I've got it open in another window. Okay, so we're gonna grab the root. Wait. Is this working correctly? I don't think it is. Oh, that's why I couldn't dock it. Silly thing. Alright. Okay, cool. So now we can close this. Okay, so root and offset. Okay. Okay. Is there a way to enter a specific value? Because scrubbing kinda sucks. 330. Oh, there we go. Dang it, could you? Sequencer. Oh. Yeah, because you're running all the way out to here, so we don't need that yet. So let's just leave that. Right. So now we have like the range of motion that our character is going to go through. Hang on, could you walk through that again? Okay. So we're at 21, so let's go to like 25. Hit enter. 21, deselect everything. Okay. How does it deselect everything? Okay, I guess that does it. Where the fuck is it? Oh, it's right there. Whoa. That's so cool. Interesting. Hmm. Hmm. Oh. Interesting. Cool. Okay. Control Shift middle mouse drag. Gonna take an. Where did my notebook go? I say notebook, it's a sticky pad. Hello. The fuck? That's the wrong one. I just had it. What did I do with it? And now I'm stupid. And I lost my sticky pad. Oh no. Okay, but actually, what did I do with it? Oh, it's down there. Okay, I found it. Cool. Okay. What's this do? Not that. Maybe this guy? Yeah. Hang on. I'm gonna pause for 1 second because I realize that the arms are in FK. And we don't want that. So we're gonna go back to 0. And I'm gonna go back up to globals. And we need to find FK, IK switch. Okay, so why is this grayed out? Hello? Oh, because I'm in the curves, not in the sequencer. So I gotta go back up here. Then we're gonna go to globals. And we need to toggle the arm FK switches on. Okay. So that's kind of cool. Even with that little bit, right? We can see he like goes down. Oh shit, okay. Did I fuck up? I think I fucked up. Shit. Okay, hang on. Oh, is there a way that I can... Shit, yeah, okay. Okay, well, that'll probably work. Okay, yeah, so what we gotta do is we're gonna take all these frames. Let's try copy pasting and see if that works. It does. Ostensibly. So if we go here, so we're gonna go to Nate, we're gonna go 0, and then it goes like that. Oh shit, okay. Okay, so we're not gonna take, so we're gonna take everything except for the global and the root. Can we copy those and have you paste there? Okay, so yeah, I kinda goofed it a little bit. I kinda goofed it. But we can take these keyframes and delete them. And then we can take offset, take these keyframes and delete them. Okay, so now we have it set up so that we get sort of into that preparatory pose. So yeah, definitely not done, not even remotely. I'm actually just gonna leave it paused for a second. I'm gonna not follow the video because I just kind of want to get into getting a bit of a nicer pose on here, right? So we're gonna grab this hand. Go like that. Rotate the hand up. Like this. Let's maybe go like this a bit more. And then we can kind of bring this elbow down. Maybe put it back a little bit. I'm gonna roll the hip a little. Am I? Maybe not. Maybe it's fine where it is. The one sort of tricky thing about IKs is you can get that weird, like, floaty limb syndrome. Looks okay. Okay, so then if we zoom back a little bit, so by frame 30 everything is resolved. So let's go back up to the sequencer. We're going to grab our offset and find our framing for that. So that's right there. So where does he put... Yeah, so maybe a couple frames after that, we want to get sort of into... Yeah. Yeah, so he's at like frame 10, we're at frame 11. Okay, so same idea. Right, because we're basically going to snap very quickly into the full sort of action motion, right? So you might take this arm... Take this leg. Maybe not quite hyperextend it, right? Take this foot. Go grab that little control right in there. Like that. Roll this foot. Sort of pick it up. Just so it's not, you know, dragging through the ground. Would kind of make sense. Right, so if we scrub, we go in, and then we launch. So then let's just rotate the torso a bit more forward. Whoop! That's... We can fix that. So one thing I want to be a bit careful about is... So you see how the feet like launch back before the character actually starts moving? Or like it's almost timed correctly, but it's a little too soon. It's just a little bit too early. So like up till frame 8, we should see this foot remain more or less planted. So we're gonna see this. Okay, maybe not that guy. So yeah, this should stay on the ground like that. And up until just the absolute last moment. Should not go anywhere. I feel like that actually kind of works nicely because then we get this interesting like building of tension That's still not quite ideal, right? Because you see the foot is like sliding. So you don't want that to happen. And this is where onion skinning would come in a lot of help. I don't know if there is onion skinning in Unreal. Yeah, so movement. And so then you see as the character starts to leave, that foot is still holding its position. We can actually use the grid on the floor to help lock that in place. And I think by frame 12, there's like no way that the foot can even reach it at that point. But that's also fine because now the foot is like lifted off the ground. So it's not perfect, right? We're still getting some weird foot drift, but like there's definitely a better sense of like tension in that spot that the character actually launches off of. So it's a bit better. And I'm just gonna come back here. We can raise this foot up a bit more. And then this goes till about, so right here is where we're gonna run out of momentum, right? And our character's gonna effectively stop. So I'm gonna do something perhaps a little bit different than what he does. But what I want to do and what I think would be kind of fun to have is, you know, this leg, like, do a really strong planting, right? Really, really lock into the ground and stop the movement. You know, maybe the hip rotates a little bit, so it's a bit, it's a more like lateral grip, right? It's not purely the foot trying to drive everything to a stop. And then maybe this one comes forward a little bit. We'll sort of roll the knee outward. I feel like even just sort of that movement, right? Like we haven't done much with the arms yet, but that gives us a good sort of like direction that things are going in. And then maybe grab the elbow. You can pump that up. You can tuck this elbow in. Raise this hand up. Maybe something like that. So let's see how that looks. So we have our idle. We crouch into the prep position. We launch forward. And then we stop. Right? I'm gonna put this a bit more like that. And just roll the ankle a bit more. Kind of like that. And then, you know, as we sort of ease back, I feel like in here we want to have a little bit more of a response, right? Because there's a bit of a translation movement. There's a bit of a slide. The idea is there, right? The idea is there, but I think there's two things we can do. One, so at the end of the motion, we'll be right there. So for like 2 frames more, let's have the body continue forward, right? So the leg is sort of braced outwards, right? It's hyperextended, or not hyperextended, but it's very far forward to sort of act as a spring catch. So we're going to copy all of that, and then for these 2 frames, we're going to hold it in place. A little bit more. Then we're going to come back up here and sort of move this a bit farther forward, right? So it goes boom. There's sort of that forward motion. And in that time, I think we'll have this foot sort of come forward a little bit and plant down. Really sort of situate itself in the ground. And then as the character starts to go backwards, we're already getting a pretty good like positioning of that foot, right? It pivots a little bit, which makes sense. It pivots on the ball of the foot, but it's not moving that much. So the last little sort of thing that I would like to do, last thing, quote unquote, is we're not even gonna like change the position of this leg or this foot. We're just gonna raise it a little bit, right? We're just gonna give it a little bit of a step motion. Because that gives a bit of a sense of like a drawback, right? So it braces, it plants, it catches the weight. We're gonna grab all of this and just, what was it, Control Shift middle mouse to move it a bit farther forward. And go like that far. So you see how that feels more deliberate, right? We have that hold position. We try to keep it lined up about on the line there. and then just that little bit of like a raise. So it feels like it's a deliberate movement back rather than it just kind of sliding. So let's see what that all looks like put together. That's not bad. That's not bad. For, I don't know, how long were we working on that? Like 20, 25 minutes? Dang it. I spilled some of my tea. Oh, hang on. Alright, that's fine. Yeah? I don't know. I'm pretty, like, it's not gonna win an award or anything, but it's not bad. There's a lot more that we could do with, like, the timing or the easing or adding more, like, secondary motions. You know, we could do more with the arms, certainly. Because right now, they're just kind of, like, doing their own thing, right? They're just kind of floating there. But it's serviceable. All right, let's put the video back on for a little bit and just see, you know, what other like clever ideas or tips and tricks our friend Threepeat has that might give us some inspiration or ideas on how to clean it up. Oh, I think I used the controls backwards. Oh, noted. Okay, that's what I was trying to do before, and I flubbed it. Oh. Okay. Break it down. That is cool. Hmm. Okay, right, makes sense. Interesting. Okay. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wubba wubba. Not too much. It's actually not bad. There we go. Should be a bit easier to read now. Ooh. Just got them G-forces pushing it still, right? And then paste it and do sort of a excuse me. Relax it a little bit. What the head doing? Okay, hang on. So let's actually try baking it out. But yeah, you can sort of see, like, his was more of a proper follow through, right? Like, it was the right amount, and then the character rises up out of the dash animation, whereas ours has more of like an overshoot, right? So the leg sort of pops forward to catch the character and then settle them into the desired location. So different ideas, but same overall thing. And then yeah, we could, if we wanted to, spend a lot of time going in and like adding some of that, pendulum movement to the arm, the bracing of all the different body parts, the G-forces sort of disproportionately carrying the torso. So, sort of counterbalancing some movement there and adjusting the position of the head, right? We could go into this and work on each animation sequence for as long as we wanted to. But I think for right now, we're just going to pretend that this is good and that this is going to give us what we want and go from there. Okay, hang on. So yeah, come all the way up to the top. We're gonna grab this. Right click. Oh, right, in the sequencer, not in the curves. And then bake animation sequence. Okay, so let's go back here. So, where did he put that? I think it was under characters? No, where did he put this? He made a folder for it. Yeah, characters. Oh, under the mannequin. Dang it. No, he bamboozled me. Okay, so he just made a folder like pretty near to the top level. Okay, well that's fair. That's where I put my level sequence. So let's just grab this and we're gonna do bake animation sequence and we'll put it okay, so new folder, practice anim. Okay. 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 Oh, no worries, Mage. Hope the lesson was interesting. And I hope the rest. I hope your short Friday goes well. And you have a good start to the weekend. Thank you for hanging out. Everyone say goodnight. Okay. What in the world? Interesting. Huh. Okay. Hmm. Okay, so I want to go back through that because one of the things that I noticed when I was trying to bring it up is record in world space, evaluate. So the whole enabling or disabling root motion thing wasn't working again. We were sort of having the same problem that we did before, right? So if I disable root motion, it's still doing the thing. And I think the reason that it's doing that is because we didn't actually move the root. No, we did. Yeah, we did move the root. Oh! Because we moved the offset and the root. So even when we disable the root motion, the offset is still positioning the character, right? So if I like disable the root motion, right? So there's the offset. If I grab the root, you see the character is still moving. Character doesn't care about the root position because the offset position is still telling it to move. That's good to know. Good to know. Good to be aware of. So, the question now is, I guess the character in this system is able to update its position more dynamically, which is fascinating and annoying. Okay, let's walk back through this really quickly and just sort of go through the process of getting it attached to the character, right? CBP sandbox character. Okay, well, and this is my fault. I changed the sandbox character to be a different dude. That's why it looks like that. Okay, so let's change you back to the one that we want. Will Jordan work? I feel like Jordan's not gonna work. She kinda does. No, never mind. It's that weird, like, mismatch character. Yeah, let's just use UEFM. There we go. Yeah. I would like to use Jordan, but you can see she's like Slender Man. Everything's in the wrong spot, so let's just use that. Okay. Back to normal. We go to the event graph. Interrupt and completed. Okay. Right, okay. Okay, so we need to go to the anim graph. ABP sandbox character. Right, so I'm in the right spot. There's the anim graph. Hello. And then right in here. Okay. Huh. Nice. I honestly kind of can't believe that worked. I'm kind of impressed that it just worked. So, okay. I like that. I like that a lot. That is really cool. Now, I want to try one thing just to clean that up a little bit for our own purposes. And I do want to try potentially something else. Well, okay. So what I'm considering, what I'm a bit concerned about is when we get to the movement of our character, right? We're disabling root motion for our character because right now if we move the mesh, if we move the actual character model, right? If we enable root motion, the character is disconnecting from where our player is, the capsule, that's sort of the actual interaction object. So I believe what we would want to have happen in that case is we would have the movement, but then the dash would be a different behavior to correspond with that. And I'm wondering, just based on what I'm seeing here, if we actually need that. If we can have the character mesh be the core object, and if we can get around having that capsule. I don't know at this point. I feel like the whole sort of capsule with a mesh in it is how it's worked for a long time. That's what the mannequin was using up until Unreal 4, and this feels like a pretty dramatic change in mode. Okay, so we're gonna go here. We're gonna go to the sequencer curve. Okay, so if we move the root doesn't care, right? But the body offset. Okay, what I want to try doing is we're going to delete these keys. We're going to delete the keys for the body offset control. So what it does now is it just kind of goes in place, right? Which again is what we want, but it's not 100% clear to me why the root is even there if it's okay. Well, let's just try exporting this out and see what that looks like, right? Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. Okay, so bake animation sequence. We're going to go down to practice anim, and we're going to call this forward-2. Because no reason to delete our old file if we don't need to. Okay, export transforms, targets, round space, linear, warm-up frames, delay before start, custom, okay, yeah, go. Alright, so if we open this up, right, so now we have this. And then if we enable root motion, okay. Yeah, so now if we go back to body offset, okay, so that has that back. And now you're upset because I basically lobotomized this animation. So I'm not sure. Actually, you know what we should do? Yeah, let's do this. We can go back out here. We're gonna make a new level sequence. I'm not even gonna bother to name it because I don't care that much. And then we're gonna go into characters, mannequins, animations. Let's just do a run animation. Why not? Sure. Grab this guy. Looks good. And then we're gonna do edit and sequence. Bake to control rig. Disconnect it. Should be unlinked level sequence. Why is it not? Disconnecting. Oh, wait. What are you doing? Oh, because I didn't actually hit the thing because I'm a silly. There it goes. Okay, and now unlink it. Okay, cool. So, what I want to do here, essentially, is I want to understand what each of these is supposed to be doing, right? So body offset is that root looks like that. So if we go back in here and we disable root motion, you see the character stays in place. But if we go to the sequencer curves, it's keyed up. The body offset has a ton going on here. It has location data, it has rotate, well, it doesn't have rotation, but it is moving on 2 axes. And then the root control is doing the same thing. So, how come on this, disabling the root motion causes our character to stay in place? But then on my own animation, if I disable the root motion, it doesn't. Oh, because force root lock needs to be on. Okay. Okay, so we do want to offset the root and the body offset. That'll give us the most total functionality. And then we want to force root lock on and disable root motion where we need to. Okay, that makes sense. Let me just write that down. Okay. So, this is making sense. I like it. I'm just thinking, which admittedly is getting harder. I don't know. Like, as much as there's still a lot that we need to go through and a lot that we need to figure out with this, right? I feel like we're off to a really good start with it. You know, we understand the basics of just how to like set up a sequence and go through the timeline, set up the curves the way that we want it, get the character in. You know, we can import an animation to use as a starting point and then modify it to get, you know, something more specific to what we want. And that might also be a good thing if we can go find other like free use animations to use as a starting point. Yeah, we have the ones that we've been using, and one of the things I was saying is, you know, this is a good starting point, but some of the animations are not going to be quite what we want, right? Like some of the running and jumping might be too athletic for our character. But now, we can go in and admittedly, with how some of these animations are keyed up, modifying them might be more trouble than it's worth. We would have to go in and delete a lot of the in-between keys and sort of rebuild it. But it's theoretically possible. So the one thing that this did not go over, which is totally fair because I think this is a more advanced thing than what he was looking to do at that exact moment. So idle break, looking at a watch, and then yeah, so we're about halfway through the video, and he does a section on how to create an idle animation, an idle break. And then there's a section in here, overlaying animations, check watch while walking. And that would be the next thing, right? Is like, okay, so if we want to have the character do something while doing something else, right? Throw an object while running, throw her book while she's running, or, I don't know, some blend of activity from the player. How do we do that? So that's section 3. We're not going to start that tonight. We're not going to start it tonight. I think that's just a little too much. I think we're at a good stopping point with this. I think we can pick this up again next week and do the second half of the video. Yeah. So what's left in this video is the idle animation, overlaying animations, and then edit and polish wielding an axe, which is just kind of something that he uses as an example posing. So we might not do the final one. We might follow along, but not try and do it quite as closely, just because whatever. On the other hand, it wouldn't be a bad idea to just be like, all right, well, he wants to use an axe, we're going to do something that's more relevant to our needs, and just kind of translate his practice into whatever it is we want to do. But yeah, I think it's better just to try and approach that next week when we haven't been doing this for 3 hours and we have a little bit more brain juice to work with. Yeah. But I do think it's off to a really good start. I'm really happy at how approachable this is. And I think there's a lot of possibility. So one of the things, I want to try something really quickly. I just want to see, just as just for the sake of messing around, right? So we're in here, and what he basically wanted to do, the reason that it's doing this whole thing is so that while the character is doing the dash sequencing, it disables all the leg IK. The foot placement and leg IK. And the reason that it wants to do that is so that those don't get in the way of the animation. So I want to disable that. I want to see what it looks like when that is going on. Just for my own curiosity. Okay. So let's stop that, because I think the problem is that I disabled root motion. So we're just going to save that and re-enable it, and we should be good. There we go. Okay. So let's see if I can find an example of what I'm trying to... So if we have this little ledge, right? So right now both of the feet are planted on the ground. If we get up here... Yeah, so see, this is the problem that I was talking about. That if you don't have some sort of reactive IK, one of your feet is going to be floating off, is either going to be inside the ground or floating in the air. Maybe it needs to be a 1, not a 0. Maybe I just accidentally turned it off. Yeah, so you see when I enable it, the feet don't know what to do. Or like it's relying on foot placement, so it's like it almost looks like he's skiing. You see now though, we have the foot placement working. So you get that nice step up motion, which looks much more natural. Okay, so if we disconnect this from the leg IK, so how do you get both? Excellent question. We're gonna find out. Okay, so I'm basically just kind of going through this one at a time, right? So we're gonna disconnect this. So by default, both of these are at 0 or at 1. So we're gonna turn off leg IK first and see what that looks like. Okay, so yeah, foot placement. So see, now the foot is going through the floor because the leg IK isn't working correctly. We do get our skate animation, or our dash animation, but it's not working as intended. Interesting. Okay, so now let's flip it. Leg IK is on, foot placement is off. And now we're back to the skating. Okay. So yeah, I think the reason that this is happening is the foot placement is not working. So it's just kind of basing it on the position of the player entirely. So the leg IK is trying to work. It's trying to do the step up movement, right? But it's not getting the necessary information, so it doesn't know what to do. And so it just doesn't do anything. And now we get our floaty character. In the other one, it was able to understand, you know, the relative position of the character still being mostly on the floor, but you know, the one foot needed to be elevated to put it up on top of the ledge. But because the IK was disabled, it wasn't able to actuate that information, which is why the foot just went through the floor. So now we're just going to plug that back in. So we have our activation based on the dash debug key, right? Oh, I have it backwards. I think I have it backwards. Yeah, there we go. Okay. I don't know. It's interesting. Like IK. I wonder how much we would be able to input some of this into get foot placement, plant settings, interpolation settings. I wonder how much we would be able to transplant directly into Jordan's blueprints, and how much this is going to need a bunch of setting up. I don't know, because there's this whole chain of activity, right? Motion matching to a two-way blend off of the blend stack, additive lean run. So I don't know. I don't know how much we're going to be able to use all of this directly. And of course, again, there's like the whole disconnect of if we were to do a dash animation in our game, what we actually need to move is the capsule component, which isn't going to be, following what this does. So we either need to get rid of the capsule component entirely, which I think would be a fucking nightmare, and reroute everything off of Jordan's model, or we would disable the root motion and then have a corresponding dash movement, translation of the character at the same time that the animation plays, which is more old school, but it's also probably simpler. Like, frankly, based on my pretty bare bones understanding, I don't know what's driving this. Like, yeah, the character animation puts the model forward, but that is somehow being understood as when the model moves forward, the player is moving forward, which seems backwards to me, but it works. So I'm gonna go ahead and say it's a little fucky. But it is interesting. It's very interesting. And I don't know that we're really gonna get super into the gearworks of how all of this is behaving, right? I think really getting a full grasp of it is above my pay grade. I think I would really need to become a full-on animator, as opposed to trying to understand enough for the purposes of making the game. Impossible? No. Difficult? Yes. More time than I have? Absolutely. But it is cool. And it is kind of cool. Like, you can see how this would work going back and forth between games and movies, right? That you can just set up a scene and move a character through the scene like a normal animation, like a movie that you would expect to do. Or you can take what you set up and then turn it into animation sequences to play off of input. It's cool. It's very cool. I like it. I'm just out of curiosity. So I think what he's doing, yeah, so see, this is physically based animation. So you can see there's many different things to do depending on what you want to do, right? I'm just kind of scrubbing through the video really quickly. Sorry, I know we could go through this. I don't think this is related to what we actually won. I had it loaded up just in case, and it is interesting. That's kind of cool. Completely unrelated. This was years ago. I was out running, and I remember in school we had a section of PE where we did like gymnastics, quote unquote, right? It was nothing, it was not like proper gymnastics, but you know, we did a couple of things and we learned how to do like rolls and tumbles and somersaults, and I could never do a somersault, but you know, it was that sort of like that level of gymnastics. And I could never do a proper forward roll, but I was pretty good at doing like over the shoulder rolls. And I remember them talking about like when you fall, you know, your instinct is to put your arms out and try and catch yourself. But that's a really good way to break an arm because you have all of this force just driving into the arm bones and into the hand and wrist. And there's a good chance that something is just going to snap from the impact. So, you know, what you want to do if you're going to fall is fall and try and tuck into a roll. And I remember I was out running and it was pretty dark, and I hit, there was like an elevated block of pavement. And I didn't see it, and my foot caught on it, and I go forward and my hands go up. And like as my hands hit the pavement, I like brought my elbows in and did a roll over my shoulder and just like landed flat on my back and was just like, ow. And you know, my palms were a little scuffed up. I was a little banged up, but nothing broken, nothing bruised, you know. It was like, thank you, middle school gym class. Saved my butt. Possibly, literally. Well, definitely save my arms. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, this is definitely some interesting stuff on, like, if we want to have ragdolls. I'm not planning to do any ragdolling in the game. I think we would have some sort of, like, death and respawn animation, but it would be something more sequence-driven than not physically driven. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not super worried about it. Definitely still a few things to figure out, a few elements to sort of troubleshoot, more layers to unravel, and a few things to figure out, like, is there a way that we can implement it, or is it just kind of on the other side of the paradigm and we shouldn't worry about it too much? I might chat with one of my friends who's been working on a project for a while. They might have more insight on what does and doesn't work. Maybe. Actually, one of my friends, I have a friend from Italy who's a really good rigger and animator. His whole thesis project was on, like, rigging and animation of alien creatures, and he created some wild shit. It was really fun. So, might poke him later, so I see what his take is and what his opinions are. Though I think he's more of a Unity guy. I don't know. Nobody's perfect. I know it's a little bit early, but I do think we'll go ahead, and I feel like we're at a good stopping point here. So I think we'll just kind of wrap it up. We can chat for a little bit perhaps, but that's kind of what I have in mind for tonight. I feel like, I don't know. Obviously we don't have like a finished thing that we can show off, but we got a really, I think, solid fundamental understanding and a good sense of going forward with this, right? Here's what we want to do. Here's how we might do it. Here's how we can, create some animation sequences. We can create new things for Jordan to do, new interactions, maybe modify some of the animations that we have extracted and use them as a baseline. You know what we could do? It was one of the things that I was like, hey, I don't, I'm a little iffy on pulling the things in because they have keyframing constantly. Every frame is keyed, which is problematic, but we could theoretically like import them in and delete them down to like 10 keyframes, right? The start, the end, and a few in the middle that get us the primary motions. And then we can modify those and add more keys in between as we need to. That could work. I feel like that would be a pretty straightforward method that hopefully wouldn't be too difficult. That's kind of what I have in mind. Again, not 100% sure, but moderately confident that it'll work and not explode in my face. Maybe. Let's see. It's the fun learning part, seeing how the stuff works. It is fascinating, and I don't know. I feel like I am a very results-oriented person. So if I don't have something to show at the end of it, then I can get a little downtrodden. Which I know is not a great way to look at it, but it can just kind of be how I think about things and process things and judge success. I'm trying to be less sort of critical about that, right? Have a little bit more grace and appreciation of the process. But I am happy that this seems like something that we can really make use of, and is a skill set that we can start to build into. I'm trying to think if there's... Yeah. Honestly, I'm just kind of scrolling through Twitter and seeing like if there's anything coming up. Oh, we can finally play Deltarune. That was one of the things they announced in the Nintendo Direct. Is Chapter 4 is going to release with this on the Switch too. So the game will be completely done finally. I have not played it yet. I've just been waiting for the game to be completely released, and then, you know, might be interested in giving it a go then. But I don't know. I'm not too big on the whole episodic approach to things. God, there's so many games that I want to play this year. I don't know that we're gonna get to them all. We're probably not, because we need to finish Hades, and then we have Neva, and then we have the game demos, and then we have Horizon. It's like, I feel like that's going to be most of the year right there. We'll see. There's no real rush to it, right? So yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do this weekend. New games keep coming. It's true. It's true. But to be fair, aside from like Monster Hunter, we're typically not that worried about, you know, playing the newest, hottest games. You know, whatever is sort of the trending thing. For the most part, a lot of the games that we play are games that I've been meaning to play for a while, and don't give myself the time to play. Right? So we've got, like, I played the first Horizon game. I haven't played the second one, so I want to play that. Unfortunately, it seems like Jedi Survivor, the PC version, might not ever get to a place where it's really functional on PC. The fact that, you know, this long after release it still has so many problems makes me think they might have given up on it, which is really sad. What else is there? You know, I haven't played the God of War games, which is on my list, but it's farther down. We still have to play Tactical Breach Wizards, but we'll probably end up playing that after Horizon, or we might play it between the Horizon games just to have a little bit of a breather. We'll see. We'll see what we feel like doing. And yeah, I don't know. Especially this week, because we had Monster Hunter, and then we had the computer issues. It's been like a month since we did anything with the game. It's like, we gotta get the momentum going on this again. So I definitely want to get back into doing this weekly or every other week, because if we drop it for too long, I worry that we're not going to pick it up again. Momentum is important. All right, I just want to see I hope. Actually, I don't know if Jin is still going. Looks like she called in tonight, which is good because they were raiding for an insanely long time. Jin and her group are going for probably not world first, but they're, you know, world racing for the new Savage tier in Final Fantasy, and that's always just super demanding. So hopefully she's taking a break and getting some rest. Especially, I think, once you get to the fourth fight. The fourth fight is always just so much to deal with, you know? And to be going against it for hours and hours and hours is really demanding. Okay. Who shall we say hello to tonight, I wonder? Let's see. I'm thinking, why don't we go say hi to Boru? Let's go say hi to Boru. He's playing a little bit of XCOM 2. Playing some modded co-op, it looks like. There's energy swords in XCOM? What the fuck? I didn't know about that. Maybe it's part of the mod pack. Who knows? Alright. Let's go say hi to that. Let's do a schmoovin' raid tonight. Why don't we go ahead and let's get that wrapped up. Also got to stop the VOD. Everyone say bye-bye, YouTube. Let's see, where's the other button? Okay. So yeah, there's the button for getting the raid going. We're gonna do that. And then I gotta stop the thing. Okay, bye YouTube. Bye bye bye. Alright, and then let's go ahead.